Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. I'm Ella Eng, Customer Success Leader and Community Director at CS in Focus, where we're building a space for CS leaders to learn and grow together. You're joining us today for the CS in Focus LinkedIn Live podcast. Thank you so much for being here and spending part of your day with us. And a quick personal note before we get started, this is actually my very first podcast. So I'm especially excited to kick things off with today's conversation. Today, we're diving into a topic that's becoming more relevant as SaaS companies scale their partner ecosystems. To frame the conversation, let's start with a quick thought. So, when companies start building partner ecosystems, their first instinct is often to place partner success alongside customer success. On the surface, it makes sense. Both functions are focused on driving value, adoption, and long term growth. But the more mature a partner ecosystem becomes, the more organizations start to realize something important. Partners don't behave like customers. They operate their own businesses, they have their own revenue goals, their own incentives, and their own expectations from the companies they partner with. And that raises an interesting question for SaaS organizations. Should partner success and customer success actually live inside the same function? Or at some point, do they become fundamentally different disciplines that require different strategies, different metrics, and even different organizational structures? To explore that question, I'm joined today by Ivan Stefanovski, a customer success and partner success expert with over 13 years of experience in SaaS and e-commerce. And he's known for turning customer and partner relationships into powerful growth engines.
Hey
Ivan,
everyone, pleasure to be here. Hey Ella, pleasure to be here.
hi. Thank you so much. So
Thank
Ivan,
you.
let's start with the moment when this distinction first became obvious inside an organization.
Yeah,
So, was there a specific moment where you saw a company treat partner success and customer success as the same thing and it's clearly started to break down?
yeah, absolutely. When I was at Clipfolio, which was a dashboarding and business intelligence company, they pretty much viewed partners and customers, direct customers, the same. Partners basically weren't getting the right strategy or assistance for their use cases. They were fundamentally different from direct customers, and they were being treated like direct customers at the time that I joined. They weren't getting the training and resources needed to bring on new customers. Partner features and roadmap were non-existent. We weren't working on those at the time. Partner satisfaction and retention was going down just because the features weren't there and they weren't as satisfied. And this was all costing the business revenue. ARR, MRR, whatever you use, it was costing the business revenue.
So were those like the biggest challenges that the organization and the partners were facing when everything was kind of living under that same structure?
Yeah, I think there's a different strategy and journey element to it. Partners were suffering without the right strategy and assistance for specifically them and their use cases. There's completely different journeys to direct customers, and they needed a different approach. They're not getting the training and onboarding needed for partners and for their customers as well to be successful. And we were just treating them as the same type of customer, which wasn't working. On the different feature requirement and roadmap section, partners had totally different feature requirements, which were being overlooked. We didn't have a partner roadmap. Partners needed to manage multiple customer accounts under theirs, but we didn't have that. They were logging in individually into each customer account. They needed to have a dashboard overview of all their customers to see the health across customers. And again, not have to log into each customer account individually. We didn't have those features and functionality, so partners were frustrated. They were telling us this. There was no roadmap and no features being created for them, and they knew that. And this was a big challenge for partners and for us. But really, from the different enablement side, I think partners needed a different approach to enablement, basically to help them enable their customers, versus enabling direct customers. Partners needed to be trained differently than regular customers. Partner customers often needed training and enablement by the Clipfolio team themselves. So that was a different approach as well versus direct customers. Partners needed their own resources, sales materials, training documents to be able to sell to their customers. But they weren't getting any of this at the time when I joined, as we were treating them as direct customers.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense, and quite a bit of challenges there, right? So partners have the different strategy in the journey, different product roadmap requirements that they needed that were a little bit different from the customers, and they also needed to be enabled in a different way. So that totally makes a lot of sense and quite challenging for an organization.
Yeah.
So
It
at
was.
what point? So sorry. So at what
No.
point did you personally, start to realize that partner success needed to be treated differently than customer success?
Yeah, I would say, right from joining, I realized they needed to be different. Right when I started at Clipfolio, which now was over 10 years ago, but essentially partners and customers were fundamentally different. Partners were also customers at Clipfolio because they paid for their own plans, but they weren't like direct customers using the dashboards and the business intelligence tools in real time for themselves. They were generally using it for their customers. So basically, partners were also customers, but their customers were also customers, which made the separation more difficult. But essentially, having a partner who is selling to their customers is different than using it directly in your own company. So it needed a different approach. If we were treating partners and customers the same, at least one of them would be suffering, if not both. And separation and focus was needed on each to make each more successful. When I joined, we did have the separation, but it was a sales team that were working with customers and with partners. So we have the separation in our way of working, but the organization did not have that separation. We didn't have the roadmap and features and so on. So we kind of already felt the separation, but the org structure wasn't separated.
Got it. So help us understand. So you're thinking about, that you personally realized that it was different. Like, help us understand your thought process on what you thought was needed.
Yeah, exactly. Ultimately, partners aren't customers. So partners essentially need to be able to sell to their customers, and they have different incentives. Generally, with partners, the incentive is to add value to their customers, to make their customers happier. And in general, that was Clipfolio's values as well. We wanted the end customers to be satisfied. So it's essentially a win-win. So very different from customers, and a different strategy needs to be applied. They have separate metrics that needed to be tracked, different enablement needed to be done. We needed to train some partners on how to sell Clipfolio. We didn't need to train direct customers on how to do that. So some of those things really differed, different enablement. Also, there was a totally different sales process for partners versus customers. You're kind of selling the value to partners for their end customers, not for their team internally. So you really had to approach it differently. And it wasn't the same. So realizing that, having someone specialized in partner needs and having someone specialized in customer needs would help each segment grow. Not much was the same between partners and customers, so I treat them the same.
Gotcha. I love hearing the way people think and kind of like what motivates and drives you. So thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, metrics, they always tell a story, right? So what were some of the most compelling metrics that were starting to tell that story for you and then ultimately expose the need?
Yeah. So I'll kind of, break it up into multiple sections. There's kind of the standard metrics. I would say, partner conversion rates, renewal rates, activation rates, LTV, MRR, ARR, customer acquisition cost. For example, definitely partner conversion rates was a big one because partners were converting their customers at 50 to 60% conversion, while we were converting direct customers at 7.5%. And that was based on thousands of leads. So those numbers are a bit skewed, but it was evident partners are converting better. For example, also partners had better renewal rates and activation rates since they were mostly directly dealing with their customers. And also the customer acquisition cost through the partners, which is much lower just because we didn't have to invest as much in it. We invested in the partnership, and when the partnership was there, they're bringing us customers. So the CAC was lower. A lot of our customers were self-serve, the direct customers, and compared to them, I'd say partner customers were 3 to 4 times more likely to get properly activated and renewed. The partners were looking after their customers. They wanted to be successful. Sometimes they wanted us to look after their customers, but again, someone's looking after them. Most of our customers were self-serve, the direct customers, and if no one's looking out for those, it is evident that those being looked after are going to be more successful. Also, long-term value and MRR, ARR were higher from partner customers as they stayed longer and generally paid more. Plus, the partner was a customer themselves, adding MRR and ARR. So that was kind of a whole big revenue gain for the company, and a big percentage of the company's revenue was coming just from the partner side. So it made sense from these numbers to create the separation and focus on partnerships. But kind of some from other sides, not the kind of regular customer metrics, dev feature requests and support burden was a big one. We had many feature requests from partners for specific partner features. And we weren't focusing on that. We didn't have a partner roadmap. We didn't have dedicated dev members working on partner features. So more tickets were popping up from partners being unhappy, requesting more support, requesting those overview dashboards or to be able to manage multiple accounts under theirs. And it was hard for the dev and support team, and it was a burden, and for the company to have all of these feature requests and support requests that we actually couldn't help with. We didn't have that roadmap. So that was another burden. And then, lastly, partner satisfaction and churn. All of these feature requests and support tickets not getting action made partners less satisfied with our solution, made them frustrated. Qualitative analysis through calls and emails also confirmed that a lot of them weren't satisfied with the current state. Some partners started to churn, providing us this exact feedback. So those were kind of alarm bells. So it was clear that we needed to start focusing on partners to improve.
Yeah. So it sounds like there's just a lot of opportunity to improve there.
Yeah, totally.
So if you had to pick, let's say one dashboard screenshot that convinced the leadership, what would be on that?
Yeah, I think, part of those metrics, so definitely partner conversion rates being higher than direct customer conversion rates, renewal rates, activation rates being higher than direct customer rates. Also, the long-term value, lower customer acquisition cost, and higher MRR and ARR from partners versus direct. I think that those are kind of the standard metrics for customers that will really shine, but also showing them the number of partner dev feature requests and number of partner support tickets. Look at them building up. Look at us not doing anything about it. This is an issue. Partner churn also increases and partner satisfaction decreases. Those were, the final alarm bells, I would say, if partners are churning because of these items, and it made us make the change.
Yeah, we absolutely would not want that. And I can actually picture it, right? That's a pretty compelling visual. I can see how that would be incredibly influential.
Yeah. And on the customer success team, you're kind of, you don't have influence as much on the roadmap. If leadership decided there's no partner roadmap, it was more about just kind of keeping them satisfied with the current state as much as possible, which we wanted them to have those features.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Right. There needs to be that alignment. Otherwise, we're not going to be moving together. Right.
Yeah.
So I do think that it's interesting how often these signals, they start to show up before organizations are really ready to act on them. So once it became clear that partner success and customer success needed to operate differently, the next challenge was figuring out, what that separation actually looks like in practice. So, Ivan, when you separated out these functions, did the biggest shift show up in the org chart or in how you actually engage with the partners and the customers from a day-to-day perspective?
Yeah, it's a great question. I would say for this specific use case, and it might be unique, it was mostly in the org chart, because before the separation, we were already, knowing that partners and customers are different. When we jumped on a partner call, it was a sales team, essentially, or a customer team. And we were trained in both partners and customers. So when we jumped on a call, we either knew, hey, they're a partner, treat them this way. Hey, they're a direct customer, treat them this way. So some of that separation in what we were doing was already there. So I think the real separation was mostly in the org chart, since we were engaging with partners and customers differently, but we weren't engaging with them differently enough. the strategy for partners versus customers had not been fleshed out until the separation. And when the org chart shifted, we could start specializing partners with the partner team. And the customer team could then specialize in customers, helping each segment grow. We had dedicated partner dev resources for their features and dedicated partner support that knew partner issues better than direct customer issues. So that split was there in support as well. And we had dedicated partner managers that specialized in partner needs versus customer account managers that specialized in direct customers.
Yeah. So honestly, that was a little bit unexpected for me because I
Yeah,
actually thought you were going to say, how you engaged may have been what kind of happened first. But I actually love that you were already starting to engage partners differently prior to the
yeah,
change.
yeah,
And, it's probably that behavior that was a big driver towards
exactly.
that organizational change, right? Which
Yeah, exactly.
allowed the more focused partner strategies.
Yeah. And then we specialized more over time. Our actions and how we engage with them changed more, but that was over, 6 months, a year, while kind of during that specialization.
Yeah, totally makes sense. So then after that, after implementing that separation, like what is a moment where you've seen, the partners really starting to feel that difference? Like what changed for them?
Absolutely. I think the biggest change was when we had a dedicated partner roadmap for features and functionality, and when we started delivering those features and functionality. This is what they've been asking for, what they've been putting feature requests in for, what they're submitting support tickets for. So when we started delivering, they could overview their accounts, they could manage multiple accounts under their own accounts. So it drastically improved how partners worked with their customers in Clipfolio and how they manage their customers with improved overview. Also, the focus on partners helped us understand them better and specialize in their use cases, making it easier to bring on more partners and their customers. For example, I have a story here. One partner agency was so satisfied with those new features and the results they were getting with them that they asked to be certified within the platform. So they can market that to their customers. We didn't have a certification in place at the time, so we created a certification system for partners in Clipfolio to get certified, and it was super hard, so you really had to know the platform well. And then they received partner badges they could promote to their customers on their websites, through emails, through added marketing. So that was a win for them. This one partner that I was working with got so many additional customers from the changes that they decided most of their work would be Clipfolio based, because they also provided things like managed services to create and manage dashboards. And they became one of our best partners, generating about 20-30 new customers for us in the first 6 months after those changes.
Wow.
Big win.
That's so amazing, right?
Yeah.
So amazing when a partner appreciates, all the things that you're doing, the enhanced way of working, the dedicated enhancements on the roadmap, and really responds in that great way. So I think it's
Yeah.
just wonderful
Yeah.
all around. And I've been at organizations where we've actually created a certification program out of the need from our customers. So
There you
I
go.
completely understand that.
There you go. There you go. And it just kind of opened their eyes to, hey, I can, set up dashboards for customers and charge them for that, and then manage those dashboards and have retainers. And that's, again, that partner strategy. That is what's motivating them. Of course, it's the end value to the customers, but if they're providing that end value and can keep them on retainers, it's just more revenue for them.
Yeah, totally makes sense. And so
Yeah,
many more opportunities that really get unlocked, right?
totally.
From
Totally.
from that from that perspective. So I'm sure all of that started to show up right away in the metrics, right? So how is success measured differently for the partner success team?
Absolutely. Great question. So basically, when we made the separation, we had partner revenue and then direct customer revenue separated with each of the teams. So we had a partner team and a direct team. We also had CSAT, so customer satisfaction scores, and then PSAT, which was partner satisfaction scores. We then actually created a metric. I'm not aware that it exists elsewhere. We created a PCSAT metric, which is partner customer satisfaction. So to measure the satisfaction of partners' customers. And really those are very different from the customer team. We also separated, of course, customer GRR and NRR from partner GRR and NRR, LTVs, CACs, all of that. And essentially each team had their own metrics. And we weren't really looking at each other's metrics. Yes, overviews, but you were focused on your core partner or customer team.
Got it. Yeah, I don't think that I've heard of that, and absolutely makes sense to kind of slice out that data too for the satisfaction. So I love that you created it.
Yeah,
So
yeah, great
we
metric.
understand that partners are different than customers. We started to treat them differently. That behavior really drove the change in the org chart, and then you were able to implement that focused strategy. So looking at the metrics now, right, like after you implemented that new strategy,
Yeah.
like how significantly did those metrics vary between the partners and the customers once that full strategy was implemented?
Yeah, yeah, great. And there was some differentiation as well, even before the separation, like I mentioned with conversion rates. So there already was a split, but there was also a significant variation between partner and customer metrics after the split. In general, partners provided about 2, 3 times more MRR or ARR and LTV compared to customers, plus always a lower customer acquisition cost. And activation rates and renewal rates were about 3 to 4 times better compared to that of direct customers, just especially because most of our customers were self-serve versus the partner customers were either getting looked at after by the partner or by ourselves.
I'm sure that leadership and the entire organization as a whole really happy about that, right? And to see kind of
Yeah,
like this strategy validated in that way.
exactly, exactly. Yeah, it was great for me. Firstly, I don't know how they felt, but it felt good for me. And having worked on that separation and how things should look and be structured and designed, and the strategy for partners and materials they need, seeing that come to fruition was really great.
Yeah, amazing. I love that.
Yeah,
So, what's fascinating about that shift, right, is that, it doesn't just change how teams operate internally, it often changes how partners behave as well, right?
yeah,
And that's where incentives, kind of start to play a huge role in whether a partner program actually works. I've worked with customers that have offered incentives to their partners and those that didn't quite get there yet. But that was always the ultimate goal. Yvonne, can you share a story where, partner incentives really shape behavior, either in a positive way or in a way that the company didn't expect?
yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, because customers and partners are fundamentally different, and it hurts your business if you treat them the same. I helped with the separation of customers and partner teams at Clipfolio to have kind of a team dedicated to each. Clipfolio created a partner team with dev, support, sales, and marketing leadership members to focus on. So did the direct team. I've also seen the separation at Rewind. So Rewind, which was a backup SaaS platform, and Kalishaw Commerce, an e-commerce agency, they had the separation between customers and partners. So I know it's good to do. It results in better results for both partners and customers as team members become experts in each. And instead of being jacks of all trades, they're allowing both the customer and partner segments to grow. Focusing on the different segments helped hone our strategy for each and generate more revenue from each. And Clipfolio grew 2x in revenue year over year during the following 2 years after the separation. Now, speaking particularly in terms of partner incentives, the partner incentive that's the biggest motivator is the added value to their end customers. This is what partnerships should be built on. Both the company offering the products or services and the partner should be mostly caring about added end value to the final customer. If that's aligned, that's when you're really found your top partners. They believe in your platform. They believe in your services. They believe they will benefit their customers. And that's when they become your biggest partners, the biggest proponents. For every good or top performing partner, this will be their biggest incentive. Every other incentive comes secondary to that for those serious top partners. If a partner is only interested in making commission revenue and not the added value to their end clients, they won't take care of them. They won't keep track of them. They won't help them get enabled, stay on board, renew, which will most likely result in churn because customers left to fend for themselves in a self-serve platform that is pretty complex. It can be tough. Now, a story I had for this is that most of our top performing partners ended up getting certified in Clipfolio which again was really hard. They were super proud of their badges. They displayed it on their websites. They added in their emails and marketing materials. And essentially, partners seeing the added value from Klipfolio dashboards provided to their customers. So in terms of their customers being able to aggregate metrics from several sources into a single dashboard to have them see those metrics and KPIs in real time, those partners were the ones that were excited about Klipfolio and engaged. Those partners created managed service offerings to secure added revenue by creating the dashboards for their customers, because again, it was very complex, and then managing those dashboards ongoing, which could be retainers, really good for their businesses. With those partners, we also did co-marketing. So things like webinars or things like providing them marketing development funds for their ads that included and promoted Klipfolio alongside their agencies. Those engaged and enabled partners believed in the added value Klipfolio provided their customers and were able to secure net new revenue out of providing Klipfolio dashboard. So it was a big win to their business. The end game for those partners and us at Klipfolio was to have happy dashboard customers that were seeing all the important KPIs and metrics in real time in one place. And when you align on that value, those are the best partners. Someone, for example, another story I have that's in it just for the commissions, compared to those engaged partners. In those cases, they would generally refer a potential customer over to us. We would go through the sales process with them. Generally, they weren't even engaged enough to, do those sales themselves and to bring them on board. Those partners generally didn't track the customer performance or engage with them in regards to the Klipfolio platform. They didn't look at the dashboard overviews. They might have not signed in as often. They were kind of in it for the money. When those partner customers were left to fend for themselves, they weren't as successful. So we would offer those customers our own managed services called Ninja Services at the time, but they would often not go for it because it was at a much higher price tag than the platform license itself. So those partners were not as successful with the SaaS tool and churned more quickly, and they were less engaged, provided less MRR, ARR, LTV, and so on.
Yeah. So I think that makes a lot of sense, right? Like partners who are more engaged, invested in outcomes and the end customer value are going to be more successful. I think we're all pretty familiar and aligned with that concept in customer success.
Yeah.
I'd love to get into maybe the strategy. So can you tell us about your most successful partner strategy that you deployed?
Absolutely. When we made the separation at Klipfolio, we created individualized training for and onboarding for partners and for customers. So that was totally separated. Partners receive different training than direct customers. So training on how to manage customer accounts, which direct customers didn't need to do, and things like that. Partner customers were also managed differently than direct customers because sometimes we would train them or we would be doing the selling to those partner customers. It was really up to partners' preference. So we essentially made sure partners were engaged right from the start. We trained partners on how to use Klipfolio to create dashboards and how to sell to customers. We provided them with the sales resources and materials, videos. We did co-marketing with them, co-selling, all of these kind of strategies to help enable them to bring on more customers. We were happy to take over sales duties, as I mentioned, if partners preferred. And then we tracked partner and their customer health metrics over time. This all resulted in reducing time to value or time to first value by 75% for partners and their customers because onboarding really went from 28 days to 7 days with that focus. And that was a big win. We had a dedicated team to that, and that provided future growth.
Those are amazing accomplishments. Definitely a huge win there.
Yeah.
So we've been alluding to this whole time, but why did partner-led deals just convert higher? What is that backstory there?
Yeah. It's almost kind of a mystery question, but once you get into the space, it really kind of makes sense. Partners have an existing and trusted relationship with their clients. They already have them as clients. They're already on board. Potentially or most likely the clients are satisfied if they're still on board with them. So basically their clients know the partners are looking out for them and want the best for them. When they make a recommendation on a platform or service that benefits them, they listen. Their customers generally take their advice straight away because of that trust and the value they've already provided them until then. The partner agency is really the expert in the space, and their customers come to them for that expertise. So they're paying them for their services, which are generally positive if the customers are still with them. And then what partners recommend usually goes, and then it's much easier to convert customers.
Got it. So it sounds like it's all about the relationship and that great deal of trust that's already been established.
Yeah, yeah. And
So
I've been at an e-commerce agency as well, and I know kind of how that works. When you have a customer and then you're suggesting a tech tool that would help them, they listen. So I've experienced it from both sides.
yeah, that's great. So it's nice for us to talk about what's worked and what's successful, but every strategy has limits. So at what point does partnership stop being worth investing in?
Yeah, I think it's really about mutual value creation and mutual net revenue. Partnerships in the end are based on mutual leads and mutual revenue generation. Dollars speak in partnerships. If I don't know too many partnerships that are alive when dollars are not flowing both ways. So if there's no mutual value creation or no mutual net new revenue generation, then maybe it's not the best partnership to invest in. After trying several strategies such as co-selling, sales campaigns and webinars and events to generate leads and doing co-marketing like MDF for case studies, after going through sales cycles with multiple partner customers and doing iterations on your strategy to improve that sales cycle, and you're both not bringing any new customers on board, not the best sign. If you're being creative and trying various experiments with your partners and you're not bringing mutual revenue generation, then maybe it's time to call a day for those partners. You've really tried everything. You were in it all the way. It's just not working. So the numbers are telling you time to call it a day. Also, if partners are not engaged, skipping meetings, not responding, those are potentially another segment of partners that you should invest at least less in, maybe stop investing in.
Gotcha. So
Yeah.
I think that's a great summary. I think having that mutual value creation and mutual net revenue. And then if that's not there, then sometimes you just have to cut ties and it's just not worth
Yeah.
investing in anymore. So I think I have one last question for you here. So we are CS in focus. So what keeps you in focus for partner success?
Yeah, absolutely. For me, really, it's about the customers. It's really, I care about others. I want to help others. This applies to my family, my friends. If I see someone struggling, right away, I kind of get unsettled and want to help them. I'm extroverted also, so I love talking to partners and customers and working with them to help. Um, you know, for me, it's just wanting to help others, and I'm naturally like that outside of work. And customer success and partner success is a perfect career for that. So I really take pride in my work, and I want partners to be happy with the work that I'm doing and to be happy with the products and services my company is providing them. If they're not happy, then I feel personally responsible, and I give it my 120% to do whatever I can to improve and fix things. Partners also bring your business more success. You have to keep your eyes on that and keep your mind on that. So once you realize that, it's much easier to focus on partner success.
I love that. I think that's amazing. And I'm sure your friends, your family, all of your partners get so much value from that partnership that you provide.
I
So
try my best.
So thank you so much for sharing, Ivan. That was really great and valuable insights. Let's open this up now to some questions from our audience.
Yeah,
I think,
I was just gonna say we got some questions.
so we have a question from David here. So partner success sits at the intersection of channel, CS, and product. So practically speaking, when priorities conflict, whose roadmap does your team actually serve, and how much of your time is internal politics versus partner impact?
Yeah,
Great
yeah.
question.
I think that's a fantastic question. The politics, as David said, could get muddled. I think that's why a clear separation and having dedicated teams to each is the go-to here. Having dedicated dev resources for the partner side, having dedicated support resources for the partner side, having dedicated partner marketing resources versus regular marketing resources, having that split, having your own teams, I know it is a little bit siloed. You still work together, but it helps keep that focus. That partner team is only focused on those partner use cases. How can we make that better? And the other side is really focused on customer success, bringing customers on board and keeping them happy. So if it's muddled, it becomes more difficult. But if you have that separation, then you can really kind of make strides in each, I would say.
Got it. I think that's a great answer. We have another question from David on churn accountability.
Yeah.
So when a partner disengages or stops producing, who owns that? Is there a formal offboarding or re-engagement play, or does it just quietly die and get cleaned up at the end of the year?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. For me, I don't know how other people handle it, but for me, there's no kind of offboarding. I always try the re-engagement play. I don't want to let anyone quickly die and get cleaned up at the end of the year. This can happen though in really large organizations where the lead numbers are so high, partner numbers and customer numbers are so high that you cannot touch each of them. And because of that, sometimes that does happen. But if you're given a book of accounts that's manageable, that you can keep communication with, I would never want to have a formal offboarding unless they, I've tried everything that I could and they're saying, nope, we're going to go. Maybe I'll have, an exit interview or something like that for the onboarding. But it's always, for me, re-engagement. The first thing is you're tracking health metrics. You're seeing they're not signing into the platform, not using the features, not connecting new APIs. These are all signs, or skipping meetings. These are all signs that they're disengaging. That's when you really kind of use your deep relationships, connect to the stakeholders that are important in the business, and as soon as possible have a call. Hey, you got this platform for so and so, and right now we're so and so. Where do you need to be? What are the issues? Really dive in, be curious, understand what the problem is, and really try to, with them together, to get their buy-in, make a plan for moving forward. Okay, so X, Y, and Z is not working as it's supposed to. Would solution A, B, and C work for X, Y, and Z? Yes, great. You get kind of their buy-in. Yes, it would work. Okay, let's move forward with that plan. You create action items, you follow up, and then you're getting them back on track. So really, that's my play.
Gotcha. So next question is, if you need to rebuild a partner success team, which role would you hire first?
I think it would be it's a great question. I think a partnership manager, in essence. So someone that has an overview of the program, understands the differences between customers and partners, really kind of knows what the partner specific use case is, what they need, what partner managers need to do with those partners. So I think someone that can manage that team and also hire at the start. They don't have to hire. The partnership manager can be working with the partners directly if there's not too many of them. Once the numbers get high, that person can hire for partner managers because he's just a specialist in partnerships and the partners that the company has. So I think that would be the first role, and then allow that person the freedom and flexibility to, of course, if they have the experience and expertise, to kind of do as they feel right, because they are now the partnership expert.
Got it. Yeah. I think that's great. Thank you so much. I love the engagement that we've had from the audience. I think that we are at time. I do want to share that we do have our next LinkedIn Live on March 17th. It's called Health Scores Are Lying, Build a Signal That Predicts Churn, where Emma Lowe is going to be speaking with Brent Grimes from Reef AI and Anthony DeShazer from Protea Revenue Systems.
Very cool.
Yvonne, thank you so much again. Yay, me too. Yvonne, thank you so much again for spending this time with us and sharing all of your insights. It's been amazing. If anyone has any additional questions for Yvonne, please reach out to him directly on LinkedIn. He would love it.
Yep.
And thanks to all of you for joining us today. I'm Ella Eng for CS in Focus. Bye for now.
Thank you, Ella. Thank you, CS in Focus. Thank you, Emma. And see you soon. Bye.
See you soon. Bye.